Hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Today I'm going to show you from beginning to end what I think are the best builds to do in the Witcher 3, which is both possible to do on the highest difficulty Death March or the easiest one, whatever you prefer. I'm going to take you in step by step and show you everything. And the reason why I'm doing this is because one of my friends has finally started to play Witcher 3 and I'm so happy, and he asked me to give him some tips, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll make a video and show everyone how I did it. Important to say, this is mostly going to focus on the red and green trees, so combat and alchemy. If someone is looking for magic, I'm afraid I'll have to look somewhere else, but I can promise you that what I'm going to show you are really strong builds, and the final endgame build that I'm going to give you for the Blood and Wine DLC, which is this one, is certainly the best one out there. So I just popped a new potion to get all my points back. So the first thing I would suggest you to pick up would be Gourmet, which increases the vitality regeneration from eating food for 20 minutes. This is very good for higher difficulties, from Blood and Broken Bones to Death March, because there you can't regenerate health by meditating. And since you won't have any access to potions in the very beginning of the game, or they will be hard to come by because you don't have so much alcohol, Gourmet will really help you regenerate health between combat or within combat for much longer. So that's a really good starter. If you don't really like that, another good one to take up instead would be Sun and Stars. So during the day your vitality will regenerate by an additional 10 points, and at night it will be your stamina. But I prefer to take Gourmet instead. Then we're going to the Science build, and we're going to max out the Delusion skill of Axii. So, whoops, that's what I intended to do. So the reason for that is we want to upgrade it. I personally like to upgrade it as fast as possible, but you can wait a bit. But why? Well, Axii is the only ability in the entire game that also has an effect in conversations. So it allows you to use the Jedi mind trick on certain individuals during many quests, and it can allow you to, instead of paying money, get an item for free, or it can help you get out of a tough combat situation which you otherwise have to fight for, and you get 40 XP for every time you effectively use it, making it also a good leveling tool. So that's why I really suggest you take up that. Then I would suggest you to go to the combat tree, which is one that we're going to heavily invest in, and go for the muscle memory of the fast attack tree, and then keep going into the fast attack. Why is that? I personally find fast attack to be better than strong attack, just on a per basis. If you say only fast or only strong, strong attacks are more powerful, but they are very slow, and many enemies in this game are very fast and can easily dodge those attacks, while fast attacks are really a good all-rounder that can always work. And so I suggest you to take this one and then add it. And like you see, at level 5 we're going to get a 25% bonus fast attack damage, really making us hit a bit harder. And then if possible, you can also, if you already found someone, add in red mutation. Well, it's going to be a smaller one, but for some extra attack power, which is of course very handy to have. So then for items, I actually suggest you to go for the Viper Steel Sword, which is a level 2 sword, the Viper Silver Sword, and the Warrior's Leather Jacket. All of these diagrams can be found in White Orchard during the beginning with one of the Witcher's school gear Witcher hunts. And these are really very good starting gear that will make you, which will help you up to level 5 or 6, or maybe even higher. They are well worth the effort and worth the building. I think all of them require emerald dust, but you can get all of that by just simply doing everything in White Orchard, and you will find exactly 3 rates that will each give you some, so you don't have to pay for it. That's a really good start to begin your game with. Really effective gear, and will certainly help you, yeah, for the first levels. Then we're going onward and we're going to build further into the red tree for our medium time build, and I suggest you to then up resolve. So resolve makes your adrenaline point loss go down by 20% per level, and why this is important is because adrenaline, which is an extra bar you get during fighting, the higher your adrenaline is, the more damage you do. So if you get hit, resolve will make sure that your adrenaline doesn't completely plummet and still keeps on stays on a high level. And the coolest thing of all is when you finally max out this point, you will actually lower adrenaline point loss by 100%, effectively making you not lose any adrenaline when you get hit. Then I suggest you to go for precise blows, which increases the chance of landing fast attack criticals and also increases critical hit damage. Now you might think that the chance is relatively low, which it is, but you'll be surprised of how many times you can actually crit strike. And also, if you dodge to the back of enemies and hit them in their back, you'll always critically strike. So that's actually very, very effective. And there are also a ton of other things that will help us increase that crit chance even more. So yeah, be sure to pick this one up as well. So like that, we get a 10% extra critical hit chance and our damage is increased by 75%. Then I would go for fleet-footed. So fleet-footed makes it that damage received while dodging is reduced by 20% per level, which again makes that if you max out this ability, your damage from hits received by dodging will be reduced by 100%, effectively making you immune to damage as long as you're dodging. So yeah, even AoEs, which you normally have to roll for, can be completely negated if you dodge, if you're right in a dodge moment at the time. So yeah, very, very strong. And then we're going to get to one of the special attacks in this game, the whirl attack, which is done by holding down the fast attack button. And this is a spinning attack that strikes all foes in the surrounding area. An incredibly strong ability to have. It might feel a bit underpowered in the beginning, but don't worry, because my god, it will really, really start to hurt. Again, if you then have another mutagen left, you can put it in here for some extra attack power damage. Of course, you want to get to the greater red mutagens for the max amount, but I'm just giving you this one as an example. Then for inventory, by the time you're busy doing this, you'll eventually get the quest to go onto the Witcher school hunting gear for the Griffin armor, which is the first one you actually unlock, and it's required for level 11, so you're certainly going to get to that while building you're building further in the attack damage slots. And so the moment you actually get to this, you really want to immediately go after those parts and get them as fast as possible. Why? Because Witcher gear is just much stronger than any other gear in the game, and even though we really want gear that fits our attacks, because Felon gear is actually medium and is mostly used for sign builds, but because it's so much better than all the other gear you'll be having at that time, you really want to have it as fast as possible. One good tip I can only give you: only craft, well, with a couple of exceptions, but only craft Witcher school gear, because it's much better than anything else, unless in the very, very late game. And so we also want to get those swords. Voila, and now we're already doing a lot more damage, and because of all the extras we get, because it's Griffin gear, you're going to really feel a lot tankier and a lot safer during battle. But eventually though, we do want to switch out to Felon armor. And now I'm going to show it here because it's already mastercrafted, but this is the one we want. Why? Because it boosts attack power, which we love because we're going a damage build, And okay, it's light armor, it's not the most tanky, but it still helps a lot. And we really want to get that maxed out, a full mastercrafted Felon armor as fast as possible. So whenever you get the quest, go for those gears, unlock them, build them, then wait till you can get the enhanced versions, build them, and keep going on until you get to the mastercrafted Felon armor. So now for the late game build in the base game then. We're now going actually back and we're going to start unlocking the strong attacks. Why? Well, I personally find the other perks not that great to really need. Maybe Razor Focus, but whatever. And we need extra red because we want more attack power through red mutagens. And I personally find if you start getting a bit of a feeling for the combat, you can really know when to use light attacks, when to use strong attacks. For example, light attack, you wait till an enemy lunges at you, you dodge it, go to his back, bang, strong attack. If you're fighting against rock trolls who are very slow but very tough, you can then use strong attacks all the time. So it's a bit of a feeling, but I prefer to use both of them and then look at how the combat is going. We're going to unlock strength training for higher strong attack damage. We're going to upgrade it to level 5. Put it in there. Going to do the same for crushing blows, which increases our critical hit chance and our critical hit damage. Voila, we're going to unlock it as well. Then we're going for Rend. Rend is again a special attack, this time the overcast of a normal strong attack, so by holding triangle. Maybe it's good, I'll unlock it and just show you very quickly what these attacks actually do, and I'm going to show Whirl as well. So yeah, Whirl is when Geralt starts throwing his sword around him and actually hitting all enemies around him. As you can see, the range isn't massive, so you have to be pretty close to enemies, but don't worry, we're going to fix that. And then Rend is when Geralt powers up and then strikes in front of him, and as you can see, the longer I hold it, the more stamina he takes. It's a bit of a difficult thing to use, because, you know, Geralt feels very easy to attack while he's charging, and it's a very small range. But even if you don't like it, still unlock it because it is very strong, as we're going to see. It negates armor, and it can break through any parry. So even if an enemy has a shield, you will chock right through them, and you get an increase of critical hit chance by 50%. So and yeah, if you have adrenaline points for both these, they can actually be used to, I think for Whirl, the adrenaline points are used to keep Whirl going, and for Rend they can increase the damage even more. So yeah, strong. Then we're not going to take Crippling Strikes. Crippling Strikes actually sucks the higher level you get. Why? Because it is not a percentage based bleeding. It's a permanent bleeding, simply point based. And the higher level enemies are, the more health they're going to have, and so that bleeding will actually not be very big because it's not percentage based. There are a lot of weapons in the game that do bleed damage, but on a percentage basis, so they keep up with enemies. But this here doesn't. What we are going to take is Sunder Armor. So Sunder Armor reduces enemy damage resistance by a maximum of 25% at level 5 when you hit them with a strong attack. Now I don't exactly know how long, but as far as I know, if you hit an enemy with a strong attack once, then for the rest of that fight, they're going to have a reduced damage resistance. And that's very strong against more tougher enemies, like for example trolls, which have a very high damage resistance, or elementals, and you're going to cut much faster through them with this ability. Alright, now I'm going to do this fast attack here, Muscle Memory away, and I'm going to put it here. And then we're going to our mutagens. and voila, greater red, greater red, greater red. So yeah, that starts looking at something pretty great. Don't mind this build, these here for so this extra slot. For now, you can choose whatever you want to build into it. But a bit later on, we're actually going to put other things here from the green tree. But for now, just a placeholder. So then in our inventory, we eventually want to get to here our felon school, our mastercrafted felon gear, which I just love. Very strong, makes you a lot tougher, a lot faster. Is light armor, so you'll get your stamina much back much quicker. For weapons, I would suggest you to go for Ursin. The reason is because those swords are better than the felon ones, and they also have, I think, a bit higher damage. Don't mind the yellow surrounding it. We're going to explain that a bit later on. But yeah, so these are really the things you want somewhere at the late game. So when you want to beat the main story and the main villain, you really want to get to this point, and this is really the most effective way, in my opinion, to beat the game. You do a shit ton of damage, absolutely, and you'll still be relatively tanky. Now, by now we're more or less going into the first expansion, which will be Hearts of Stone, and now it's time to a bit change our builds towards becoming a lot tankier, because right now we do a whole bunch of damage, but we are pretty weak in taking damage, and that's kind of our weakness. But don't worry, we're going to do something about it. So welcome back. What I just did is pop another potion to get all my points back. The reason is because by now we really don't need any delusion nor gourmet anymore. We're going to have tons of, well, if you explore enough, you're going to have tons of great potions now to your, in your arsenal, tons of great decoctions, and you really don't need any gourmet or any axi anymore, because you kill everything. And so now we get those points back, and we can actually put them into some other skills that are much more useful. So the first thing we now absolutely need is acquired tolerance. So what does this do? It increases your toxicity by 1 for every known level 1 alchemy formula. The second level increases your toxicity by 1 for every known level 1 or 2, and the third one for every level 1, level 2 or level 3 alchemy level. Now, for this to work, you absolutely need to have gone out of your way to find all the alchemy formulas during the entire game, and possibly also have researched them to have access to all these incredibly strong potions, poisons, etc., oils. And if you do this correctly, you will have found a shit ton of formulas, which will allow your toxicity to increase very, very much by like more than 100 points. And what this then allows you is to actually start using decoctions, which are like the late game type of long-term potions that give you some very, very serious bonus effects. While a normal non-alchemy build will only be able to maybe use one and another potion. And the second thing we want to have is heightened tolerance. And the reason for this is because there is something like a overdose threshold, which when Geralt reaches that threshold and goes over it, he will start getting withdrawal effect. So he'll start losing health until the toxicity isn't at the threshold anymore. And yeah, that's just something we don't want to have. And heightened tolerance at its max level will completely negate that threshold and make it go away. Then we're going to put in some extra points to get a bit further, and we're going to go for protective coating. So protective coating is a very good thing if you use oils a lot, and it adds 5% protection per level against attacks from a monster type that the oil targets. So for example, you're fighting a vampire, you're using vampire oil, you're doing more damage because of the oil, but you're also going to be more resistant. And the effects are really strong, so a very good perk to use, but you need to use your oils then. And we're going to top it all off by again going here, and we're going to put in a greater green mutagen, because this has the best effects with our vitality. Then in terms of the gear we're going to use, so the first thing I suggest to you is, by the time now that you're doing Hearts of Stone, you'll probably learn about the Euphoria merchants and the Runesmith, who allows you to create special bonuses for your weapons and your armor. And the ones that I suggest you to use would be Preservation. This is, I think, the level 1 Runesmith, and it allows you, so it makes sure that armor table and grindstone bonuses never expire. So why is this so good? Well, if you use an armor stable, your armor will increase by 25%, and a grindstone gives your swords 25% bonus damage. And so with this simple preservation and enchantment, those things will never go up. So you'll be 25% tankier between parentheses, and you'll do 25% more damage constantly. However, another good one, and this is the one that I'm going to use on the very late game, will actually be Severance. So Severance makes it that the range of your special attacks, Whirl and Rend, is increased, allowing you to damage enemies from much further away, and the effects are pretty staggering. So let me show you quickly. Am I using my silver sword right now? Yes, I'm using my silver sword. So Whirl, look at that, look at how much more range I now have, allowing me to hit a lot more enemies instead. So very strong. And now Rend, yeah, so that's from pretty far away. It's almost like a short ranged attack. So yeah, incredibly strong. And so I suggest you to use those. And then by the late game, what you can do, but I didn't do it personally because I didn't saw the real reason, is create the Viper armor, which is medium armor, and is a level 39. And this will give you the best armor available to you in Hearts of Stone. The reason I didn't do it is because in the next installment, which is Blood and Wine, for one level higher you can actually get Grandmaster gear of your normal gears, and I just find that stronger than the Viper gear. But you know, that's like my opinion. But what I will suggest you to do is to certainly build the Viper Venomous Silver Sword and the Viper Venomous Steel Sword, because those are really strong blades, and they're much stronger than your Ursin counterparts. They do more damage, much bigger effect, and also, like, look at that critical hit damage bonus increase, and a critical chance increase, and a chance to poison. So very strong swords, and you want to bring those along towards the next installment, Blood and Wine, in Toussaint. And here comes the very big thing that makes our build so incredibly strong, and this is the Euphoria build. So in Blood and Wine you'll get a quest which will allow you to eventually get access to mutations. These are special bonuses that you can activate, which can give you some sort of permanent, very big boost to Geralt's combat prowess. And the one we want is the following. Euphoria, which is actually very easy to get. So as you can see, each point of toxicity increases damage dealt by swords and sign intensity by 0.75% to maximum of 200.25%. That's actually the maximum of your current tolerance, but you can actually increase that even more. So we're going to activate that mutation, and we'll be going back. And so now for every point of toxicity you have, your damage by swords and signs will increase by 0.75%. If we go back to this one here, acquired tolerance gives us a massive boost in the amount of toxicity we currently have. So if we look at our player stats, our toxicity currently is 200. No, that's not that. Is currently 267, our max. So that means 0.75. So if you get to that 100% level, 0.75 times 267 is the amount of bonus damage you'll be doing if you get to 100 toxicity. Yeah, so you're basically being able to do triple your normal damage if you get to 100 toxicity. If that isn't a crazy boost, I don't know what is. But of course, if you didn't look for all those recipes, then obviously this build won't be working for you. But if you did, then yeah, you'll be completely broken. So once you start researching mutations, you'll also get access to extra skill slots. These do require quite a lot of mutation research, which in turn requires a lot of skill points, but I'm pretty sure you'll get at least 2 extra slots by the end of Blood and Wine. So which things can we put in here? Well, the first one I really recommend would be tissue transmutation. So at level 5, when consumed, a mutagen decoction increases maximum vitality by 1000 for decoction's effective duration. So for every decoction you're now going to use, you'll get 1000 extra vitality. And again, with our very high toxicity, we'll be able to pop 3 to 4 decoctions at once, giving us 3 to 4000 extra health just because of this one perk. Then we're going to put some points into poison blades. I'm not going to put it in here because we want to put in more points in alchemy to unlock another skill. But eventually, once you get to that third slot, you can actually then put in poison blades, which gives our oiled weapons a chance to poison enemies and deal even more damage. However, this is the one we currently want, synergy. So synergy increases the bonus for mutagens placed in a mutagen slot by 10% per level. So at level 5 it will be 50%. If we now activate this and we put it in our slot here, then we now see that our attack power has gone from 40 to 60% per red mutagen, so 120 to 180%, and our vitality from 600 to 900. So increasing our attack damage and our vitality even more. Very strong perk to have. And this is then our full build for Euphoria. Incredibly strong, incredibly effective. And then for our inventory, it's time for our late game build, and I have 2 examples for you. So the first one would be to go for Grandmaster Ursengir. Again, you know, we're still not tanky enough. And we should, that's really something that, like, we're doing a lot of damage already. Our damage is great, but our survivability not so much. So why not give Geralt the tankiest, the bestest heavy armor in the game, which is Grandmaster Ursengir. Now the problem with Grandmaster Ursengir, sadly, is that it's heavy armor, so our stamina regeneration will reduce. But if you get to level 3 with the rune rights, you can do levity. And levity makes all your equipped armor items treated as light armor, effectively making you regenerate as fast your stamina as in light armor, but you're using heavy armor instead. So yeah, that's a very good one, Grandmaster Ursen. But the second one you can use, if you even want to make your toxicity even higher is Manticore armor. So Manticore armor is unique to Blood and Wine, but its special thing is that each of its pieces increases your toxicity level even more, allowing you to pop. You'll be able to just pop, I think, 4 decoctions, and so you'll be able to make even more use of the Euphoria build. So that's actually the one which I ended with. And then for weapons, there's nothing better than the Toussaint Knight Steel Sword. It's probably the highest damage of a steel sword in the base game, as long as you're not going to New Game Plus. It has 300 armor piercing, it has a 100% critical damage bonus, plus 20% critical chance, plus 15% chance to cause burning, and even increases your Quen sign intensity, which for that much is probably the one sign you'll constantly use. And then yeah, of course for silver swords you want Erendite. Quickly to say, Erendite is gotten by the side quest The Lady of the Lake. You have to do a bunch of things to show that you're worthy of the 5 virtues of a Toussaint Knight. Yeah, if you want to know the specifics, you can Google it. But just look at it. Each blow generates charges, which increase sword damage by 10%, and charges are lost over time or when receiving damage. And a fully charged sword will always deal critical damage. So the amount of charges max is 10. So yeah, every time you get an extra charge, you'll increase damage by 10%, up until at 10 charges you'll do 100% bonus damage on top of the already massive base damage Erendite has. And if you kill a foe with a fully loaded sword, it will expend its charge to permanently increase the weapon's damage. So the higher, so this weapon can actually scale with the player, so you can keep using it over and over. The craziest thing of all is when you reach the maximum, which is here 130, your sword will not expend its charges, so it will keep at that 100% bonus damage, and as long as you don't get hit, you'll constantly deal double damage, and you'll always deal crit strike damage because it's fully charged. So yeah, just think about that. And now think about doing Whirl at the same time with Erendite against whatever enemy. You will shred it in seconds. This is kind of the build that I think is the best by far. Maybe quickly, I'm just going to show you some decoction effectiveness. So let me just... Alright, so now we have here Geralt, just basic. He has 0 toxicity at the moment, so just let's pop some great decoctions right now. So the first one I really like is Ekimara decoction. So damage dealt to foes regenerates vitality. So going to unlock that, and as you can see, our toxicity has only gone up by 24%. Second one I really like is the where are you? Is the water hag decoction. So damage dealt is increased when vitality is at its maximum. Now you already see the synergy you have here. This one gets your vitality back, and this one deals bonus damage when your vitality is high. Other great ones that you can add would be Troll Decoction, which regenerates vitality both during and outside of combat, which again synergizes incredibly well with Water Hag. Another great one is Echidna, so performing actions that consume stamina regenerates vitality. Very funny, you can actually then just jump around, and you'll be when you're not in combat, and you'll get a massive amount of health regeneration. But another fun one is where are you? Here, Nitrate I also really like, since the decoctions take up upwards of an hour until they run out. You can kill a lot of enemies, and then per enemy you killed, Geralt's vitality will increase by 50. So yeah, imagine killing a whole bunch of enemies at the same time. A grave hag is also a possibility, but I'm looking for one that also can do some very serious bonus damage. Here, succubus decoction, also a great one. You'll have to kill a succubus for it, which is a bit sad, and you only have 2 chances, but it is worth it. And it increases your attack power over the course of a fight until reaching a maximum. This is the one. Archgriffin decoction. If any stamina is available, strong attacks consume all of it and reduce the foe's vitality by 5% after their normal damage is calculated. So pretty crazy. And look, I just took 4 decoctions at the same time, all of them giving some serious boosts. So damage dealt to foes regenerates vitality. Damage dealt is increased when vitality is at its maximum. Attack power grows over the course of a fight, and if any stamina is available, strong attacks consume of it and deal bonus damage. My toxicity is now 94%. My vitality, which was 6,300 before, is now 10,000. So just look at how much tankier I've become. And yeah. Now you see my damage now 210% of its normal percentage. Plus all the decoctions that are working at the moment, even increasing my damage even more. And then you have Arondites, you know, 10 stacks, 100% bonus damage at every strike, and crit striking 100% of the time, order to Sandsteel Sword. You know, imagine this massive troll just coming at me, and I'll just go wham 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 wham, and the guy's done. I'm going to try and find if I can find any enemy to fight me.
Sheath that blade, you twin. Put it away. Damned, wandering grey-haired pink liquor. Crush him, boys. He's a witcher.
So yeah, massive damage, very tanky, still a lot of room to put in your own accents. If you like this video, please like. I'm not going to say please subscribe because it's only my first video and I don't, and I hope I can make more. So if you like it, leave a nice reply maybe. I kind of did this freestyling a bit, so I'll have some editing to do, but I hope it attains to something and maybe helps someone out. Yeah, have a nice day. Bye bye.